Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inktober day 28. No, 29. And today's picture, as you've seen in the thumbnail, is a little bit controversial. And yeah, the word today is injured. And I was tossed up between doing an injured Hulk and doing another story from Spider-Man. As you know, guys, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. We've only done one story so far. I say one story, one picture of Spider-Man, which is really, really good for me when I'm doing artwork. But today I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't choose between the story that we're doing today or doing the injured Hulk from the Infinity War saga. I chose Spider-Man as of course. I'm going to be trying to draw Spider-Man sort of holding an injured, or as we like to not remember, a dead Gwen Stacy. If you do find it controversial and you don't like the way he took the Amazing Spider-Man stories, then definitely let me know in the comment section down below. But today we are going to be trying to draw this story here. But before I start and I get myself set up, I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up of what story we are drawing.
Spider Strength, if I ever needed you, I need you now. Don't bum out on me. I don't have enough energy for another try. I've got to put everything into this one punch. You understand, Spider Strength? Everything I have! He's down. For a while, at least. Even getting together what strength I have left, I couldn't pack much of a wallop. My best bet's to pick up Gwen and run. There's the lady now, out like a light. Good thing, too, Spidey to keep his secret ID. Gwen! Looks like she's in a state of shock. Better get her to a hospital. Have to give her a sedative of some kind.
You cursed interloper! You'll never take that girl anywhere! She's doomed, do you hear me? Doomed! And so are you!
Gwen, no! I've got to catch her! Stop her fall before she hits the water! I've got to! I've got to! Get it! Spider Powers, I love you. Not only am I the most dashing hero on two legs, I'm easily the most versatile. Who else could save a falling girl from certain dip? Gwen? Hey kid, what's wrong? Don't you understand? I saved you. You can't. No. Don't be dead, Gwen. I don't want you to be dead. I saved you.
Romantic idiot! She was dead before your webbing reached her! A fall from that height would kill anyone before they struck the ground! But for you, my friend, death will come more quickly and more surely than the shock of a sudden fall!
Wrong, Goblin! You're the creep who's gonna pay! I'm gonna get you, Goblin! I'm gonna destroy you slowly! And when you start begging for me to end it, I'm gonna remind you of one thing! You killed the woman I love! And for that, you're going to die!
So there we have it, guys. There's the actual story of the Spider-Man from the comics, where Gwen Stacy meets her demise. It's not the way that they portrayed it in the Amazing Spider-Man film, but obviously they had to change things up for theatrical versions or whatever. People think it was a bad story. I won't really like the film. It's a bit slow and it's a bit boring, but that was because of the Spider-Man who was playing. I can't remember his name. Andrew Garfield. He was he quit or got fired halfway through filming the film, and that's why the film was such a bad edit. Yeah, because they had to edit stuff where he was still there and edit stuff there where he was no longer there. He was no longer part of the film, so they had to sort of get halfway through the film, have a film to make because they've got all the scenes that they've made, and make the film out of that. But that was the kind of the death of the Amazing Spider-Man saga. I mean, it was a good story, and in the comics, he was going a bit darker anyway. And they were kind of sort of copying the Batman series that was going on. I think the Batman Returns series. They were sort of copying that and going a little bit darker with their heroes, and that's what the theme was in the Amazing Spider-Man. So it didn't really come across, and people didn't quite get it because they were used to the comic pop. Hey, I'm Spider-Man, I can do Spider-Man thing, and save people and things. And you never really saw heroes kill Sorry, you didn't see the heroes kill, but you never saw heroes lose, especially lose so badly that they lose their love interest. Now, in the comics, that's happened hundreds of times, especially in Spider-Man. He never wins anything. Yeah, that was the story that killed the Amazing Spider-Man series. Hopefully, it will kill my series here on Inktober. Again, we're on day 29. And we're going to be drawing that story. We're going to be listening to some comic story in the background. So if you guys do want to pick a particular story from a comic historian, I am literally going to be listening to the Gwen Stacy story to bring her back to life because, again, it was a controversial thing at the time that they brought her back because the obvious... Well, my theory, and pretty much everybody else's theory, is that they brought her back after the film bombed so that the Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was going downhill after that film. I mean, downhill. Even to a big Spider fan myself, I was like, oh my God, do I want to watch another film after that bad, horrendous thing that they made? Not because they killed Gwen, but because of the way they edited, and it was just slow, boring, and it just didn't make much sense in the film. But anyway, that's the film. We're going to do the comic version today. Again, they brought Gwen Stacy back by an alternate version of Gwen Stacy. We're going to be listening to that. Know your history over on Comic Historian while I do some drawing. But before I do so, let's plug this in over here because I've got to remove the tablet so I can actually listen to something. Before I do, let's get in and show you every day this month, so far. I have put every one of these up on Instagram for a better look, so don't forget to go over there. Again, my name's Blut084, BLUT084. Art and games are here every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. And today, and the day was on day 1 was Ring, day 2 was Mindless, day 3. These are all up in the available to check out in the playlist as well, guys. So don't forget to check that one out for all the live streams. Day 3 was Bait. Day 4 was Freeze. If you know what this is, let me know in the comment section. Build, we're going to do a Halloween special tonight over on Mixer. I'm going to be curing my zombie villagers and, getting some more Halloween-y things done. So don't forget to tune in for that tonight. And then day 6 was Husky. Day 7 was meant to be, I thought it was enhanced. It was actually enchanted because I'm a dumbass. Day 8 was Frail. That was a nice old lady. And Alyssa was what made me kind of think, should I do another Spider-Man? Because that was all done in ink, guys. And I was thinking to myself, well, I've got to have another go at drawing Spider-Man in ink before I go back to my pencils. Because once after Inktober's back, I'm allowed my pencils back. So that was day 9. Day 10 was Patterns, where we did a load of patterns. I chilled back a bit because I was trying not to go too hard, too fast. But if you know what that pattern is, let me know in the comment section. It is up on Netflix. Then we've got Snow for day 11. And it's Bomb Lord Snowman. And I'm going to quickly go through these because there's quite a few now. So we got Dragon for day 12. Day 13 was Ash. And you can see that's the end of the scene of God of War. Then we get to day 14. Where I did an Overgrown, because that was the word for Maleficent. And then day 15 was Legend, and that is the cover of I Am Legend. I like doing the covers of films, and we listen to the good comics, which I know a lot of you actually are really enjoying that one. So if you are, guys, don't forget to leave a like if you are watching that one. So yeah, that one was I Am Legend for Legend. Then we've got Wild, and the Wild Things is another book and cover. Every day I listen to a different playlist, guys. So if this is the first one you've listened to, then don't forget to check out every day for different playlists on what the theme was. Then we've got Ornament. I didn't want to do a Christmas ornament because it's still too early in the year. So I picked something off my shelf and drew that. Then we've got, again, I've tiled back, and it's on a Friday for day 18. And the word was Misfit, and that's the... can't remember what it's called now. It's Dennis the Menace, the English version, not the American. And then we get into staying with the word sling and being a bit more of a misfit, but we're not a misfit. We're a take from the rich and give to the poor, Robin Hood style. And then we get to Sunday, where I've lost the day again. So we're on 18, 19. This is 20, day 20, and it's a nice scene with me, my son, and my dog walking on the beach because the word was tread. And then we've got day 21, where the leprechaun and the is over his treasure because the word was treasure. And let me know what you think the other goblin or Gulia is doing. Next day was Ghost, so 22, and I did the Ghost Rider and definitely really enjoyed that one. Again, we listened to the Ghost Rider stories that we're going to be listening to, like we listen to in a moment. Then day 23 was Ancient, where I drew Nosferatu, the first vampire. Day 28. No. 29. No. Day 24. Day 24 was Dizzy, and we're in the open heart something. Yeah, open heart 2020 challenge. And I did Dizzy as a doctor's making you dizzy before you go to sleep. And then we keep on with the theme of the doctor. And the doctor he's put me to sleep because I told you my story of my open heart surgery with having a piece of pig actually implanted into me to keep my heart pumping. I told you all about that one, guys. And again, it's a true story. I just went and took the theme a bit too far on this one. And then, so the doctor's put me to sleep. He's taking me apart almost. So with his faithful followers, and they're kind of almost eating me because the word was tasty. And then we get into a very dark picture indeed. Again, one of my favorite pictures I've drawn. It's very dark, so if you're not into that, but I told you about Professor Pig and the story all about that in the DC comics. Ugh, DC, dirty word. And then we get into the word, the day 27. Day 27 was was shit. What was it? Oh, it was coat. The word was coat on 28, on day 27, sorry. And I did a Red Riding Hood because she wears a coat. I know it should have probably more of a cloak, but we did that one. But then yesterday, day 28, which was Ride, and I did the scene on the front cover of the Red Dead Redemption 2 cover. If you guys, again, enjoyed that one, we listened to, listen to Black Beauty in that one. That was actually a really lovely story. I enjoyed listening to that. So if you guys want to listen to that yourself or tune in and see how I actually put all this picture together, what techniques I use and what colors and things, not colors, what different other pens I've used other than the one rollerball that I'll be using and showing you right now for day 29. And again, the word is injured. We're going to be doing Spidey or Spider-Gwen. Oh no, we're not going to do Spider-Gwen. We're doing Spidey holding Gwen as she is injured. But the pens we'll be using, that is my rollerball, uniball, sorry. My other uniball is running out, but anyway. These two for shading and maybe a few of these to shade or color with if I feel like I need to. But anyway, let's get on with that because I've waffled on too much. Let's get on to drawing. We are really late. That's this and this. And let's get on where we started. And that's an advert.
Welcome to Know Your Universe, the series right here at Comic Historian, where we just try to explain superheroes and characters and concepts within your favorite comic books, TV shows, and movies. With Spider-Gwen finally being introduced to a larger audience thanks to the Into the Spider-Verse movie, hey, it's time for us to explain a little bit more about her, even though we've been running a series here for a little while about her adventures. Now, created by Jason Latour and Robbie Rodriguez in 2014, Spider-Gwen first appeared in The Edge of the Spider-Verse #2. Residing on Earth 65, Spider-Gwen was a member of the Spider Army, fighting against the Inheritors. With an interesting alternate reality and a badass costume, the character proved so popular that Marvel quickly announced that she would be receiving her own series that would explore her life on Earth 65. Raised by her police captain father, George Stacy, after her mother's death, Gwen grew up as a slightly introverted child. Of course, she had friends like her shy neighbor, Peter Parker, and her bandmates in the Mary Janes. Like the 616 Spider-Man, Gwen gained her powers when she was bitten by a radioactive spider while on a class trip.
Also, like 616 Peter Parker, Gwen spent the beginning of her career trying to figure out how to make money off of her newfound powers. She adopted the persona of Spider-Woman. Not Spider-Gwen as the title of the comic would have you believe, although obviously you can't use your real name. Look at Spider-Benny! I wonder who it is! Unlike the Earth 616 Peter, she's not an amateur inventor, and her original costume and web shears were given to her by the former crime fighter Janet Van Dyne. It would be words from her father that would make Gwen actually want to start crime fighting as a career. Overhearing Captain Stacy talking about how Spider-Woman could do so much good with her powers made her realize that her father was right, and she was wasting her gifts. She would stop trying to use her abilities for selfish reasons, and for a brief time she was the hero of New York. Unfortunately, her celebrity status was not to last. Her friend Peter Parker idolized Spider-Woman and wanted to become special like her. After experimenting on himself, he transformed into the Lizard and began to terrorize the senior prom at Midtown High, Gwen Stacy's school. Swinging into action, Gwen Stacy was forced to fight her friend, finally defeating him. Badly injured, he reverted to his human form, and the strain from the transformation combined with his injuries from the fight, well, they were just too much for Peter, and he died in Gwen's arms. As always happens, our hero is blamed for the unexplained death of Peter Parker and becomes a wanted criminal. Even though Gwen stepped up on her crime fighting to try and prove that she was a good guy, the NYPD put together a task force that would bring her in. Her new criminal status got the attention of Matt Murdock, leader of the Hand and a corrupt lawyer who works for the Kingpin. Wanting to bring her into the organization, he sent assassins in to kill the head of the NYPD's task force, Captain George Stacy, in an effort to make her their ally. Gwen managed to defeat the assassins, but in the process was captured by her own father. And at gunpoint, Gwen had no choice but to reveal her identity to her father. Trusting his daughter, Captain Stacy let her go. Gwen would at this point take part in the war against the Inheritors during the Spider-Verse event and would be key in the final battle. Afterwards, she would return once more to Earth 65, where her life would continue as normal. Now back in her own reality, Gwen tried hard to change the public's perception of Spider-Woman. Yet her vigilante lifestyle put a strain on her friendships and obligations to the band, the Mary Janes. She also had to deal with Frank Castle, a tough new detective who would become the head of the Spider-Woman task force in the NYPD. Matt Murdock, who had become the new Kingpin, was also key on trying to bring her into the Hand, and he had sent Vulture to discover her identity. Luckily, the multiverse was destroyed in the Secret Wars event, and you don't have to deal with social problems when everything in the known universe has blown up. Waking up in Battleworld, Gwen teamed up with various Spider people from different multiverses that we met in the Spider-Verse event in an attempt to stop Norman Osborn from gaining control of the Web of Life and Destiny. Following this success and the restoration of the multiverse, Gwen joined the Web Warriors in defending the different universes that had lost their Spider-Person. Once again back on Earth 65, though, Gwen now has to deal with a part-time job in the arrival of new lizard people, briefly teaming up with Earth 65 Captain America, and by team up I mean being arrested, Gwen would then discover that the new group of lizard people was being led by Dr. Kurt Connors, and is actually a S.H.I.E.L.D. asset that uses Peter Parker's old lizard technology. Gwen would then deal with the return of her friend Harry Osborn, who went missing after Peter Parker's death. Harry also blames Spider-Woman for the death of his friend Peter and has spent 2 years training to defeat her. Using an improved version of the lizard formula and Green Goblin-like combat armor, Harry manages to defeat Gwen and unmask her. The shocking realization of her identity causes Harry to lose control, and he fully transforms into the lizard. Gwen manages to defeat the new Goblin Lizard and eventually returns Harry to his normal form. Being ever so busy, Gwen would then team up with the Earth 616 Spider-Woman and Silk to stop the Cindy Moon of Earth 65. Now, Cindy Moon on 616 is Silk, but Cindy Moon on Earth 65 is actually the leader of a terrorist organization and the creator of the spiders that gave Gwen her powers. Go figure, right? Anyway, Cindy Moon, who we're going to refer to as the evil one right now, uses this science mumbo-jumbo to take away Gwen's powers and beat the crap out of her. Luckily, Gwen is given 8 radioactive pills that will temporarily return her powers for a short period. Once again, returning to Earth 65, Gwen must deal with both the Punisher and Kraven the Hunter, who are trying to kill her while she wrestles with the destruction that she has caused as Spider-Woman and how it ruined both her and her father's lives. Of course, Gwen doesn't have the level of power that she used to have and is helpless to fight the Punisher in a weakened state. In the end, to keep her safe, her father turns himself in for helping Spider-Woman, hoping that he will clear her name with his testimony. As if a devil on her shoulder, though, Matt Murdock once again appears in her life, revealing that he knows about her depowering and is offering her a limitless supply of pills if she joins the Hand and works for him. There's a brief interlude where Miles shows up in Earth-65 to look for his missing father, and while teaming up, they discover that there's a world where Gwen and Miles got married. They have kids, and they started a family super team. This causes teenage Gwen and Miles to start a brief relationship that lasts for a few panels. But back in our regularly scheduled comic, Gwen's life is out of control. Her father's in prison, and she barely has any powers, and now sort of kind of works for the hand. Meeting Matt Murdock at Oscorp, he reveals that there's a way to restore her powers. By mixing the lizard formula with the alien spider parasites that Cindy Moon created that gave Gwen her powers, it should cure her. Traveling to Madripoor, Gwen fights and teams up with Logan and Shadowcat, two shield bounty hunters that fight Harry. Harry then turns into the lizard. Gwen uses her radioactive pills, which mix with his blood, and creates Earth-65 Venom. Discovering that her father has now been beaten into a coma by Murdoch's men, Gwen gives into the rage of the Venom symbiote and proceeds to hunt down anyone who had anything to do with hurting her father. Eventually, she confronts Murdoch on a roof where she stops the Punisher from killing him, but the rage consumes her again and she almost kills him herself. When he then reveals, because he loves his reveals, that he was testing to see if she could be corrupted. Before anything could happen, though, she's sucked into another multiverse where she meets Gwen 617. It's there that she learns to let go of her anger and control the Venom symbiote. Returning back home again, she reveals her secret identity to her friends and bandmates. She then turns herself in, realizing that Spider-Woman needed to stand trial for the destruction that she caused, even if she was trying to do the right thing. Sentenced to 1 year in maximum security S.H.I.E.L.D. prison, she declines joining a S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Ops team to get out of her sentence, deciding that doing her time was the right thing. Upon her release, Gwen is reunited with the Mary Janes, who immediately showed their support by suggesting a band tour so that Gwen can help other cities throughout the country. Her father had come out of his coma, and the two were finally reunited. The former Captain Stacy told her that no matter what, he would always have her back. And as a fire truck sped past, Spider-Woman swung into action once again. Now, her story doesn't end there, but that does end the original run of Spider-Woman, aka Spider-Gwen, aka the woman who is now becoming known as Ghost Spider. See, she became so popular that they needed to come up with a different...
It's weird. You like hanging out with animals more than people.
Hell yeah.
name for her, because we have Spider-Woman all over the place. And you can't just have Spider-Woman as Jessica Drew and Spider-Woman as the other ones that all exist in 616 that I can't seem to think of right now. And you can't just also have Spider-Gwen be Spider-Woman. So they're trying to slowly change her name to Ghost Spider, and they're doing it in the comic book. Now, with Spider-Geddon going on right now and Into the Spider-Verse happening in the movie theater, Spider-Gwen has a new book, Spider-Gwen, aka Ghost Spider, in which she is continuing her multiverse travels and meeting new Peter Parkers and new Gwen Stacy's. It's a lot of fun, and I've always been a fan of this character in general. I hope you guys enjoyed our Know Your Universe for Spider-Gwen, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our channel. But this video is here as a way to kind of like take advantage of the Spider-Verse movie, and we also got to go and conduct an interview with the actors and actresses of the Spider-Verse movie. One of the members of our team, Dan, got to go and do this. So we're going to throw in a clip right now of Dan interviewing the woman who played Miles Morales' mother. Hope you guys enjoy.
So before I start, I wanted to know what your history with comic books before coming into this movie was.
My history was very limited. My brother read a lot of comic books, actually, but for some reason, X-Men was the one that stood out the most to me. So this is all like a really crazy, pleasant, incredible surprise, because I'm getting to know so much about Spider-Man, about the Spider-Man legacy, and I feel like this is the best way to learn everything. You know, it's sort of like talk about jumping in feet first.
Were you surprised with how many different spider people there were? Because this is even just the tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip. I was surprised. I was exhilarated. I was excited. I mean, it really is a wonderful part of the story that anyone can wear the mask, you know, and that superhero lives within all of us. I love that component of the story.
So before this, you have done things like Dexter and shows like that. What was it like coming from that kind of background into an animated Spider-Man movie?
You know, overall, it's just so nice to work and be happy and not worry about a serial killer or trying to find one or anything like that. There's from the beginning, this just felt really good, and it felt like it was growing. I was growing with it, and it was all happening sort of simultaneously. It's been a really fantastic journey in that way, and I love this character of Rio Morales. She's she's tough, man. She's tough. She's cool. She's compassionate. She's earthy, and has a great family, a super cool son, Miles Morales. So it's great.
So what kind of preparation did you do to kind of get in the mindset of the role?
Well, I thought about my mom a lot because that scene in the beginning of the film, it was, I mean, pretty much growing up in my house. I'm one of 8, and my dad was a cop, so all of that really resonated with me. So I thought about my mom a lot, drinking her café con leche in the morning, just making sure that we all got our day started right.
And so now that you have played the mother of a superhero in a movie, if you were to have a child
Not just of a superhero, Spider-Man's mother.
Exactly.
This is amazing.
Do you think you could do that in real life?
Play the mother of a superhero?
Be the mother of a superhero.
I am the mother of a superhero. I have a stepdaughter named Ellie, and she's pretty much a superhero.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's got incredible powers of drawing and writing, and so I got that done.
So you had a lot of life experiences before this that really helped you get into the role of the character.
Yes, for sure.
So what is your favorite scene from the movie?
My favorite scene of the movie, one of my favorites, because I really do have so many, but it's when she's kissing Miles, Rio's kissing Miles goodbye, and she won't let him go as he's going off to school. Here she is, just the mom, hurry up, we gotta go, we gotta get ready, and he's saying, in a minute. And then she just doesn't want to let him go. And I love it because it's not just that he's going to school, but these moments become so precious when a kid is that age. They start growing up that quickly. And it's just like, give me a second, just let me hold on to this for a second longer, because you're going to be a grown man really soon. So, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Listen to some more great Stacey. I'm gonna let it go because I'm in the zone. Not if I'm in a good zone, but I'm in the zone nonetheless. Adverts. Stop playing music. Alright, we'll go back. Alright.
Welcome to Comic Story, where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues of your favorite comic books while diving into the world of video games and movies, and we break down the lore within your favorite pop culture universe, turning it into an audio drama. Today we're going to be continuing a storyline that we started a long time ago. One of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe that doesn't seem to get much love in general, even though she even appeared in a movie. I'm talking about Spider-Gwen, otherwise known as Ghost Spider, depending on what continuity you're looking at. Now, we're currently still covering the original Spider-Gwen run, and I want to wrap that up for you because it does end epically. Now, in our last videos, the search for Gwen continued with Frank Castle leading the charge to bring Spider-Woman in for her involvement in the death of Peter Parker. As Frank tore apart the city, Gwen's father, George Stacy, decided to turn himself in for helping Spider-Woman to give Gwen a chance to escape from Frank's wrath. In the end, George Stacy was arrested, and the only person that Gwen could turn to for help was the Kingpin of New York, Matt Murdock. As Harry Osborn stands in the streets of Madripoor, he makes a call to Gwen's phone, only to get her voicemail. The beep goes off, and Harry tells her, "It's me again. I'm in a hurry. Get my father to stop. Make them stop. Please. They're just making things worse." He then hangs up the phone and looks back at all of the hand ninjas surrounding him. Meanwhile, back in Manhattan, Gwen visits the police station to see her father, and Matt Murdock tells them that they need to move this along. George's trial is being fast-tracked. Gwen tells him, wait a second. He said that it would take months. And Matt tells her, he said that many things were likely, given her father's cooperation. Our current situation is that George Stacy's refusal to refute the charges against him plays it out like guilt. What's coming isn't a trial, it's a stage, a soapbox that her father can stand on and shout his side to the world. So what happens when he does that and the world doesn't care? The choice is clear. You honor our deal or he rots in prison. Either way, we're done for today, Gwen. Matt grabs Gwen by the arm, but George Stacy lunges at Matt, telling him, "You are not going to threaten us." And Matt pushes back, stating, "Threaten? I wouldn't dare." Gwen still buys into your little code of honor. But how good are those little merit badges going to be when Gwen is all out there alone, Mr. Stacy? It is in your best interest to not break our deal. and George shouts that he will break him for. But Gwen steps between them, telling them to stop. You're here because of me, Dad, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get you out. As Gwen and Matt leave, they pass Officer Boyle and another officer, and Matt grabs Gwen by the shoulder, asking, "Do you take me to be a clown?" Gwen asks what he means, and he shouts, "I asked you, do you take me for a clown? I asked you to assure your father's cooperation. I asked you to honor our deal, Miss Stacy. So far, I've gotten so very little of what I've asked for." The other officer with Boyle steps in, asking Gwen if the man is giving her any trouble. But Boyle pushes them back, asking, "Do you know who that is? That is Matt Murdock." And the officer steps back, stating, "Wait, that's Kingpin?" And the boy turns around, stating, "Just shut up and walk away." Gwen tells Matt that he can't scare her into doing whatever he wants like everyone else. Like he said, they have a deal, and he owes her as well. Matt yells that he wants her suited up and powered up. What he wants to see is Spider-Woman atop Oscorp Tower in 10 minutes. And believe him, she will want to take this seriously. Because right now, he is no longer asking. 10 minutes later at Norman Osborn's office, Norman looks up to see Gwen in her costume. And he asks Matt if he's serious. Spider-Woman is a killer. Harry lost his damned mind seeking vengeance for what she did to the Parker boy. And Gwen tells Norman, "No, Peter Parker was my friend, and your son Harry, he's also my friend." Matt then tells them, "Look, I know what happened to Harry. After his little run-in with Spider-Woman, he came running to Daddy for help. I know that Harry took the lizard mutagen and needed help, but he never got any from Dad. I also know that there was a recent run-in with Frank Castle, and you left Oscorp a little radioactive isotope like this one." Norman asks, "So, what do you want? Me to recreate Spider-Woman's powers?" And Matt laughs, stating, "Cindy Moon created Spider-Woman. That would be like asking a house painter to recreate the Sistine Chapel. You can't do it. Not exactly. You may come in, Dr. Brock." The doors open up and Elsa Brock walks in with a card. And Norman asks, "What is this? Are you working with Murdoch?" Elsa pulls back the cover, stating that she's been searching for what he's asked. She found a way to get his son back. And that's when a little black liquid hisses as it tries to escape. And Gwen asks, "Okay, what the hell is that?" Elsa tells her that this is the next step. This is a new her. Cindy Moon is a genius, and by unlocking the secrets of an alien spider parasite, she not only created Spider-Woman, but also handed Doc Connors the keys to his lizard formula. With Matt Murdock's encouragement, she turned their isotope research into a cure for Harry's condition. So she theorized that the two of them might have some effect on one another, perhaps burn out the lizard's regeneration powers. But to their surprise, it did more, much more. She pours the black liquid onto a lab rat, and once it's fully covered, the rat hisses and begins to savagely claw at the glass. She goes on stating that the ooze created by exposing the lizard serum to Cindy's radiation is a mutant cousin of Agent Drew's original alien parasite. It also grants host powers similar to Spider-Woman's, though not without peculiarities. The venom absorbs the isotope to live, but it also amplifies it. It begins to emit its radiation. It's an odd side effect for the parasite, but deadly for the host. And that is where Spider-Woman comes in. Her body, her blood, is completely immune to Venom's radiation. Venom can make you whole again. Gwen shouts, "You are out of your minds if you think I'm going to let you infect me with some snot parasite." And Matt tells her, "Oh no, not yet at least. We need Harry Osborn. Your relationship is the best chance we have to luring him back home. Harry's been a lizard too long, advancing beyond any existing treatment. If we use the isotope to mutate his blood into venom, we can draw the parasite out of him." And Gwen asks what happens after that. They're going to use the toxic turtle ooze and turn her into a freak show? And Elsa tells her, "No, you're immune to the negative effects. Your relationship would just be symbiotic." Matt then says Harry gets his own life back, Norman gets his son back, and Spider-Woman gets her powers back. And the venom gets a new home. It's win-win-win. Gwen then shouts, asking, "And what do you get, Matt? Your own personal pet monster? A freak you can..." But Norman stops her, telling her, "Please. Harry did this because of you. Because he thought you were..." And Gwen stops him, telling him, "No. Harry did it to himself. And you could have helped him. You should have helped him." Norman looks at her, telling her, "Please, as his father, help me fix this." So Gwen sighs. "Damn it. Fine." And later in Madripoor, the hand ninjas tell Gwen that they await her orders. She looks at them asking, "What? Oh, no. Look, I appreciate the lift, but I'm really not going to do the group thing." As she swings through the city, a man watches, stating, "Look at that. The Spider-Woman herself." And as the man follows, there's a schnick. A short while later, Gwen catches up with Harry, telling him to just stop. He spins back, knocking up bits of gravel and debris with his mutated lizard arm, and then he jumps down into the alleyway. Gwen follows, tackling him, shouting, "Stop, damn it!" And the two bounce into the street. But as Gwen gets back up, she tells them that they need to stop running. She is here to help him. He catches his breath, stating that he's not running from her. She was followed by him. Gwen looks back to see where Harry is pointing and sees a man in a cowboy hat, asking, "Okay, who's that?" The man walks out of the shadows, stating, "I misjudged this for an easy bounty. You fought well, honorably even. But now it's time to come along peacefully." Gwen tells the man that she doesn't know who he is or what business he has with Harry, but the man stops her. "No, darling, don't expect that you would know my business. Not a lot of folks breathing who do." There's a snick as three claws pop out of the man's knuckles and he lunges forward, swinging them at Gwen. She manages to duck behind the man, kicking him into a nearby guy, and then runs over to Harry, telling him that they gotta ghost out like Swayze. As Harry gets back up, he sees all the ninjas following Gwen. Gwen tells him, "Okay, you're not really gonna believe this, but they're with me." Harry stares for a moment, stating, "Wait, you're working with the hand? They've been hunting me for weeks!" All the ninjas on the rooftops release their arrows, most of which land directly into the man's chest. Gwen grabs Harry, ducking through the crossfire from the ninja, stating, "Look, I know this looks bad, but..." And Harry stops her. "Bad? It doesn't get much worse than this. That guy, that's Logan, the immortal Mr. Murder Hands. Legend has it that he was a samurai, but instead of dying in the battlefield, he was revived to live out the lives of all the people that he killed. He ended up in America working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Gwen asks, "So S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own personal maniac?" And Harry says, "Sort of. Mr. Murder Hands is Black Ops. Hired help that they call in when things are too messy." Gwen then says, "Can we not call him Mr. Murder Hands? That name would be too self-fulfilling. Call him Wolverine. I know one of those." Just as Gwen and Harry get away from the fight, a woman jumps down from a building, phasing through Gwen and Harry. Harry swipes at her, but the woman turns back, popping a single claw out to Harry's neck, stating that he's so special that S.H.I.E.L.D. has sent in the Shadowcat. Harry tells Shadowcat to do it. "Think this is messy? I'm the lizard now. You know what kind of monster will grow in my place?" Gwen yells for everyone, "Just shut up! Look, lady, S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to do experiments on Harry. All I want to do is cure him." Shadowcat tells her, "You are barking up the wrong tree. I'm here to do a job." And that's when there's a sonic blast and Shadowcat screams. Logan walks up holding a small device, telling them, "Tisk, tisk. You know I love you, kitty, but this bounty is mine." As Shadowcat takes out the rest of her claws, Gwen helps Harry get back up, stating, "This is insane! Everyone is insane! God!" With Logan and Shadowcat distracted, Gwen and Harry then make a break for it down an alleyway, with Harry stating, "Just up ahead." Gwen then begins to explain how she can use her power-ups to draw out the lizard mutagen, and then the mutagen changes into something that's supposed to fix her powers. Harry begins rummaging through a tent, asking, "Where is it?" As a D20 die falls out, Harry frantically swipes at it. Gwen tells him, "We have to hurry! You don't know what's at stake here!" Harry turns back and hands Gwen the die that they used to play Dungeons & Dragons with, and he says, "I do. I know what's at stake. I always have." That's when the ninjas jump down, telling Gwen that they can't keep the bounty hunters back for much longer. They must get to the transports now. Harry begins to growl, and as Gwen looks at the die, she pulls her mask down, stating, "Okay, one last time. One last roll." Later, after getting away from the hand and shoplifting, Gwen and Harry run into an alleyway to catch their breath. Harry starts to stuff his face with whatever he can grab from the bag that they took from the store. But as a rat runs by, he snatches it. Gwen smacks the rat out of his hand, asking, "What the hell? We're already stick out like a sore thumb. Do you know how not to draw attention to us? We have S.H.I.E.L.D. bounty hunters and Murdoch's ninjas to deal with. We can't risk them catching our scent from something stupid like stolen energy drinks." Harry goes back to eating from the bag, stating, "Fine, more for me." As Harry munches away, Gwen sighs as she leans up against the wall and sits down. She thinks of what she should do, and that's when she dumps out her bag, grabbing her phone, calling Matt. Matt picks up from a club, stating, well, it must be early for you over there. What's the matter? Your latest betrayal eating away at your conscience?" Gwen says, "Oh, screw you. You knew S.H.I.E.L.D. sent those maniacs after Harry." And Matt laughs. "Of course I did. S.H.I.E.L.D. will now dissect your little friend there unless you bring him back. This is your second strike. Come home and we'll call this a foul ball." Gwen tells him, "No, I don't trust you. Harry is safer with me." So Matt then asks, "What does Harry think of this?" And Harry yells as he smashes the phone. Before getting ready to move out, Harry says, "Of course this is going to be a trap. We have to split up." Gwen tells him, "Yeah, no, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't after me, and Murdoch knows that I got to go home eventually. You're going to need a better plan if you want me to ditch you." Harry then asks, "This cure, how does it work? Why do I need you?" So Gwen explains how Cindy Moon unlocked the genetic code of an alien spider and used it to create her powers. Peter and Doc Connors then used her research to create the lizard mutagen. The radiation in her power-ups has a strange effect on the lizard DNA by pulling it out of the host. It mutates into some sort of meaty black goo. But since she's immune to the radiation, she is the only one who can bond with it without killing its host. Harry pauses and waits. You have isotopes? Gwen tells him, no way. They have no clue what they're doing. But what the hell do we do once the serum is mutated into that glue? I don't want that stuff anywhere near me. Maybe we can talk to Reed or Jessica. And Harry shouts, we can't trust anyone! You can see why everyone wants my blood. It's turning me into a freaking monster. Gwen grabs Harry, telling him to calm down. She's doing everything that she can. And then she stops. The handed ninjas jump down, attacking Harry. As Gwen is pushed to the ground, she realizes something. There's no way to save both of them. It's Lizard or Spider-Woman. She has to choose. So she pulls down her mask, and just as a ninja is about to strike her, Logan runs in, cutting her. Gwen smacks the injector, getting ready to fight, but a hand phases through the wall, and Shadowcat grabs her, telling her, nuh-uh. She presses her knuckles to Gwen's head, telling her, you're dumb enough to walk into this. And Gwen shouts, you have no idea what you're doing. Murdoch is playing you all. And Shadowcat says, oh, don't you worry, non-precious. The professionals are here. Be grateful. We got this. Meanwhile, back in George Stacy's holding cell, he hears the cell doors unlock and then sees Alexei standing there. George asks, what the hell is this? That man tried to kill me once before. I don't know what the Kingpin has on you, but... The guard looks back and says, I don't know any Kingpin. I'm just doing my job, just like our captain should have. The guard takes off Alexei's cuff, telling him, make it look good. Not like... But before the guard could finish, Alexei punches him in the face. He walks into the cell, cracking his knuckles, telling Murdoch that his tab is due. Back over at the first floor elevators, DeWolf pushes the button to the 9th floor and asks Officer Boyle where he's headed, officer. And Boyle says, Boyle, ma'am. Funny enough, I'm headed to the 9th floor too. Reckon we're visiting a mutual friend. Gonna drop off a little reading material. DeWolf looks at the cover and reads Dad's Sword and laughs, stating that George loves a good fantasy. Boyle then laughs and says that he's never heard anyone call him George before. Make it sound like he's almost... And DeWolf stops him. Human? That's the best part about Captain George Stacy. He's just a human like the rest of us. As the doors open, DeWolf and Boyle step out and see the security guard is missing. DeWolf grabs her gun while Boyle and her start to make their way through a row of holding cells. When DeWolf sees Alexei, she tells Boyle to get some help. She'll deal with Rhino over there. Alexei charges at DeWolf as she starts firing, stating, ha! Rhino! I like that nickname! After knocking DeWolf to the ground, Atomo appears, telling him the job is done, they must go. As the smoke fills the room, DeWolf gets back up, running to George's cell, calling out to him. But when she looks back in the cell, she sees George Stacy laying there on the floor. Back in Madripoor, Logan continues fighting with Harry in his full lizard form, while Shadowcat holds Gwen in place to watch. Gwen struggles to free herself, shouting to Shadowcat, can't you see? The more you fight, the more of a monster my friend turns into. It wasn't his decision to fight. Shadowcat flashes back to a time when she was younger, and how she was used to help create Logan. Shadowcat throws Gwen to the ground, stating, damn you, Striker, Weapon X, they made me. And Gwen asks, what are you? But Shadowcat grabs her, shouting, I was just a little girl. I thought I was helping him. I had no choice. Gwen stops and tells her, you do now though, right? So Shadowcat pauses for a moment and then says, I'll separate them. But whatever I'm going to do, it better be worth it. Logan cuts into Harry across his chest, and Harry roars as he charges, turning over a police car. Logan gets behind him, jumping up, swiping at his neck again, and as he does, he ends up phasing through with Shadowcat telling him to stop. Logan asks her, what are you doing? And Shadowcat pulls him away, stating, it's not worth it. Look around. Is all this destruction worth it? Gwen gets up, kicking Harry in the head, stunning him, asking Shadowcat if she can phase people into things. She laughs, asking, how much of him? As Gwen charges back in, Shadowcat grabs onto Harry's tail, stating that she's ready. Harry pulls back one of his massive arms, swinging, but his arm goes through Gwen and into the street. With Harry locked in place, Gwen grabs a handful of isotopes, holding them in front of Harry, stating that she's sorry. But whatever happens next, it isn't his burden to carry anymore. Slowly, the mutagen creeps through Harry, through his cuts, turning into the black goo, turning into venom like before. And as venom grows, it looms over Gwen, and she tells him, this is all on her now. Back in Manhattan, the medics rush George Stacy into an ambulance, and as they prep to leave, DeWolf notices D.A. Franklin Nelson watching. She grabs him, asking, why, Foggy? Do you even know why? You and Murdoch, do you have any idea what you've done? And there you have it, Volume 4 of Spider-Gwen. Took us forever to get back to it, but I'm happy we did. We are setting up for Gwenum. Yep, that's pretty much what she gets called around in the Marvel comic book community. Awesome, though, in my opinion. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, but if you do want more Spider-Gwen, thanks to the YouTube algorithm, I literally need to know. Go in the comments down below and be like, Betty, I want more Spider-Gwen. I like this character. I want to see her fighting this weird version of Wolverine. I want to see her getting the Venom symbiote. I want to see where this goes. If you want to know where to buy the next issue, it's Volume 5 of Spider-Gwen. So if this doesn't perform, I guess this will be the official end of Spider-Gwen, but we are giving it this one last chance. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell with a notification, and let us know in the comments down below, I want more Spider-Gwen. It makes the algorithm send this video out to anyone looking for Ghost Spider. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at ComicStorian, and I'll see you next time right here.
Yeah. So I'm still getting there with the
Welcome to
picture.
Marvel Zombies, right
As you
here
can
at
see,
Comic
I'm
Story.
just putting the last few little details now that I think need to be there. Obviously, you got to put the webs in, but we're getting very close to today's end of today's drawing. If you have enjoyed it, or if you have enjoyed the stories in the background, I will link them at a later date down below. But I would have thought by now, guys, you would know where a comic story comes from. If you don't, search them up.
And today, we're going to be giving you what we've done for Marvel Zombies. The Origins, Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, the spin-off with Deadpool and its conclusion, and then the return of the original Marvel Zombies. While the series does continue after our ending, it doesn't actually continue much of the original storyline, and instead does spin-off stories in the zombie universe, and they honestly weren't that good. Either way, enjoy the Marvel Zombies full story right here at Comic Story. For this tale, we're going to need to travel to the Ultimate Universe, the Ultimate Fantastic Four. Poor Reed Richards is a young genius scientist who's being told he can't be a superhero. But with these powers, shouldn't he be? Well, recently he came in contact with another Reed, a Reed from another dimension. And this older Reed has told our young Reed, come to our universe, and I can teach you how to be a hero. So our young Reed takes that offer, and he creates a device to warp over to this other universe to learn how to become a true superhero. But this world, there's something wrong with this world. This is the world of Marvel Zombies. Young Reed panics right away as the zombie Fantastic Four tells him that he's been had. This was their plan. You see, the Marvel Zombie universe has run out of food, and it has some of the most intelligent zombies ever. So they tricked the young Reed to come here so that they can have some fresh meat. Young Reed quickly slips away and he jumps down into the sewer system to flee. But he won't get away that easily, as the zombie Human Torch jumps in after him. With his heart racing, Reed runs through the sewer system screaming, oh God, oh God, oh God, until he eventually actually loses the zombie Human Torch. He climbs back up to the surface and he looks around. How did this start? How did this world come to this? What has happened? Well, this infection, it travels between dimensions, looking for the superheroes and the strongest individuals. It spreads like wildflowers and has taken over this entire world in as little as 3 days. Reed looks around the entire city and he can't believe the state that it's in now. But, you know, zombies can smell fresh flesh. And Reed is currently out in the open, where the rest of the starving Marvel zombies are roaming, and they can sure as hell smell him. But those other zombies don't matter, because the Hulk is hungry, and he announces that the stretchy boy belongs to the Hulk now, and he charges straight for Reed. Reed looks like he's doomed. He's just a young scientist. How could he possibly stop the Hulk, of all people? Luckily, he won't have to, as every car in the area begins to plummet at the streets below, crushing a good chunk of those Marvel zombies. Reed looks around in shock and he realizes that there's only one man who could have done this, Magneto. And Magneto insists that Reed come with him if he wants to live. Magneto leads Reed to his hideout and explains that he is the last superpowered being alive in this world. And he's been rescuing the human survivors, but none of them have any power to stand up to the Marvel zombies. After some worried looks from the humans, Reed explains that he's from another dimension, and that's why he's here. He was tricked into coming to this world by the zombie Reed Richards. Magneto then looks panicked, and he looks at Reed and he says, you just opened a doorway back to your world. Your world is already doomed. Meanwhile, back at the Ultimate Fantastic Four universe, Sue, Johnny, and Ben are looking for where Reed went into his lab. When the zombie Fantastic Four comes through the portal, ready to feast on this new world. The Ultimate Fantastic Four quickly run out of the room, and they lock the zombie Fantastic Four behind 5 layers of airtight doors and gas the entire room, making them rather easy to handle. Maybe in their
Give it some
zombie
shade
state,
in
they
now.
weren't as smart as they thought they were.
Well, I
Back in
think
the
it
zombie
needs it.
universe, Wolverine begins to
It's looking
slump
there, but I just want to put a little bit of
Small
darkness
Magneto.
into places where it should be.
The other humans. So much fresh meat. The zombie superheroes begin to attack Magneto's secret hideout, and Magneto realizes one thing. If there's a portal open that's going to a safe world, that's where they can go. They can go hide out in that other world. And if they can get there before the Marvel zombies, that's their one hope for survival. They just need to get to the Baxter building and travel back to Reed's universe. All of them. And they can escape this together. They quickly run out the back door and they run back into the streets, only to run into the rest of the Marvel zombie superheroes. Magneto looks at everyone and he says, "This is gonna be difficult." And then all of the zombies turn blind. Looks like the rest of the Ultimate Fantastic Four has shown up. And Sue Richards made all of the zombies' optic nerves invisible. Now with his friends here, Reed works with them and they defeat all of the remaining zombies. And everyone flees to the Baxter building. Once they get to the dimensional portal, though, and restore power and put up force fields, Magneto realizes that he needs to stay here. Somebody has to destroy this device from this side of the portal, or the rest of the zombie horde will just follow them through and destroy the new world. The Ultimate Fantastic Four also realize that this is the only way, and everyone waves goodbye to Magneto as they all warp back to the Ultimate Universe. Magneto makes peace with himself, and he destroys the entire Baxter building, leaving no way for the Marvel zombies to follow through to the Ultimate Fantastic Four universe. And so ends one of the most horrific nights that Ultimate Fantastic Four Reed has ever had. And it brings him closer to becoming a superhero. And it brings the Ultimate Fantastic Four closer together. They also have new captives in the Baxter building. Because those 4 zombies that came through and got gassed, well, they're now just prisoners in the depths of the Baxter building. Meanwhile, back in the zombie universe, after the explosion went off and destroyed everything, the zombies survived. And so did Magneto. But what about Magneto? Did he die after this? Not quite. While he did destroy the Baxter building and the transdimensional device, he survived, and so did the zombies. And while he put up one heck of a fight, he couldn't take out everyone, and eventually, they ate him. Well, this is when we learn that when the zombies eat, they're no longer consumed by the urge to feast. They actually get to look at their situation. They're still themselves, but they no longer heal, they no longer feel pain, and parts of them are decaying and falling off. But they will be like this for a little bit longer since they just feasted. And they realize that there's no longer any food on this planet. So what are a group of genius Marvel zombies supposed to do before they get hungry again? Well, they don't have to think about that for very long, because just then, the Silver Surfer comes down to say, "Hey!" The zombies chase after him, but they lose him rather quickly as he's kind of on a silver surfboard and moving very fast. While they're all standing around trying to figure out what they're going to do, Hank Pym decides to take his leave of the group to supposedly go find his wife, and he heads off, ensuring that he'll be back soon. But Hank doesn't appear to be looking for Janet. It's almost as if he's walking around trying to hide from everybody. Like maybe he's trying to hide a completely uninfected T'Challa that he's been secretly eating from everybody. Well, Mr. Hank Pym is actually trying to solve this whole zombie problem, and he's using his secret stash of T'Challa Twinkies to keep his sanity. He's getting close to solving the zombie problem every time he eats T'Challa. He gets a little more sane and a little more capable of actually solving this problem. But there's an even larger problem. He wasn't as sneaky as he thought, because just then, Janet showed up as she followed him to his little secret hideaway, and she demands that Hank share this meat with her. How could he be hiding these T'Challa Twinkies from her? But Hank simply says no, and he bites her head off. Well, I guess the Janet problem has been solved. Well, the rest of the zombies are all headed back to see Iron Man and all of the others, and while Iron Man wasn't too happy that he didn't get to have some of that Magneto meat, something else decided to just float next to them at this time. Silver Surfer has returned to let the zombies know that Galactus is on his way to their planet so he can consume it. But the zombies all just stare at him. They decide that looks like some really good silver meat. They all jump right away to attack him, and they learn that his cosmic powers can cut their zombie flesh like butter. First, Iron Man is cut in half, And then Wolverine's adamantium skeleton literally tears through his own arm, allowing his flesh to just dangle there. But eventually, even with his cosmic powers, the Silver Surfer couldn't stop the zombies from eating him. And they discovered that once you peel back the candy silver wrapper of the Silver Surfer, there's some juicy cream filling on the inside. And what's interesting is that the zombies discovered that if they eat this cosmic imbued cream filling, they're imbued with cosmic powers just like the Silver Surfer. Meanwhile, while Hank is all fighting for some of that juicy Silver Surfer cream filling, our T'Challa Twinkies wake up and he begins to walk off, and he decided to take the severed head of Janet with him. You see, since she's a zombie, her head still functions, and she begins to torture T'Challa by asking him if she can just nibble a little of him. Just give her a little. You know, she needs to solve this hunger problem. Maybe he can just give her like a pinky finger. Maybe she can just eat a pinky finger. But T'Challa begs her to stop. It's a little disconcerting to have a friend of his wanting to eat him, especially since she obviously has no stomach, and this is all a mental thing. It's not going to solve any of her problems. Back with the rest of the zombies, things get a little bit more bizarre as Galactus arrives, demanding to know where his herald is. And Hank Pym replies, we ate him. We're still hungry. But being that this is Galactus, there isn't much they can do to fight him, and they run off planning to figure out a way that they can stop him later. So Hank leads them to his secret lab, where he discovers that T'Challa has escaped. So he better work quickly while he can think, as his hunger has been solved from Silver Surfer. Back with T'Challa, he finds himself confronted by Magneto's followers from Asteroid M. And at first, they think that he's a threat and they attack him. But T'Challa defeats the Asteroid M humans with only one arm and one leg. And once they all agree to stop fighting, T'Challa grabs Janet's head and he brings her along with him. So that the remaining humans, T'Challa and the head of Janet, can all head to Asteroid M and get away from the planet that's obviously about to be destroyed by Galactus. And once they get up there, they take the head of Janet so that they can find a cure, while T'Challa meets with the man in charge of the asteroid. His name is Forge. While back on Earth, the Marvel zombies seem to have figured out a weapon that can fight against Galactus. It combines all of their new cosmic powers into a single focused, cosmic-powered beam. And it works. It knocks down Galactus, and it's time for some giant purple meat. But as they knock him down, he lands in the middle of all the zombie supervillains. Well, this leads to the eventual. The super cosmic-powered heroes of the Marvel Universe versus the non-cosmic powered villains. Do I even need to tell you which side of this fight wins? Well, with the supervillains gone and Galactus on the ground, the Marvel zombies have one hell of a feast. 5 years later, the human survivors of Asteroid M come down to the planet to see if they can help the Marvel zombies. They discovered that if a zombie doesn't eat, eventually, it'll just stop having its hunger. And they took the head of Janet and put it into a robotic body. But they discovered that the zombies aren't here. And since the planet is still here and not destroyed by Galactus, where did the zombies go? Once they ate Galactus, they became Galactus. And now they go through space devouring any world that has an alien race that has a good juicy cream filling. It has now been decades since the Marvel zombies left Earth on an intergalactic journey, and they stand at the edge of the galaxy with new friends. And every living thing in the universe has been eaten. Giant Man turns to his zombie brothers and he tells them, "This is it. We ate everything." And Thanos tells everyone, "This is Hulk's fault. He eats twice as much." So Hulk hits Thanos' zombie's head so hard that it explodes into pus and guts. Giant Man then turns to the other zombies. "We ate everything in this universe, so it's time for us to explore the multiverse. And in order to do that, we'll need to go to Reed's teleporter back on Earth. It's time to go home." But back on Earth, there are survivors. We find this out as a young boy finds the head of Hawkeye, left there to rot for decades. He begs the young boy to save him, bring him elsewhere. He won't bite. He promises. You see, when the zombies were eating all of Earth, a few survivors were on Asteroid M, and once they deemed the Earth safe to live again, they went home. Being the only surviving leader, Black Panther was placed in charge of what would now become known as New Wakanda. He was also joined by Janet Van Dyne, a zombie that isn't hungry at all, because as Black Panther, Forge, and their scientist Reynolds have found, the zombies eventually just aren't hungry anymore, and they go back to being the way they were before they turned into a zombie. As proof, Janet brings the head of Hawkeye that Black Panther's son just found. They're interrupting a heavy debate as to what should be done about the children of the community. the Acolytes, because the children are starting a problem, and soon Forge is worried that they'll overrun the community. But now the discovered head of Hawkeye is a bigger concern, and Forge brings it to Reynolds for experimentation. They discover that Hawkeye is in fact normalish again. Well, as normal as someone could be when they've been separated from their body for over 50 years and buried in rubble. With knowledge that it is now confirmed that the zombies can turn back to normal, Black Panther goes to bed for the evening, when suddenly an assassin breaks into his bedchambers and stabs him in the stomach while he tries to sleep. He kicks the assassin over, and Janet runs in to protect him seconds too late because he's already bleeding out on the floor. Realizing that there's no other options, she bites him, spreading the zombie disease. Then, with her hunger returning, she gets up and she tries to dive on Black Panther's wife. But he gets up and he grabs her. No, help me eat the assassin, Wasp. They munch on the assassin and they regain their sanity, which happens right after they feast on somebody. Wasp and Black Panther lock themselves up until the pain of hunger can pass. All the while, the Marvel superhero zombies are growing closer. With the leader of New Wakanda locked up, the leader of the Acolytes, Cortez, takes this chance to convince everyone that they need to follow him now. He can help them repopulate a new Earth, and they can't be following a zombie. A monster should not be ruling them. He then starts to get people together to go kill their old zombie leader. So Forge, Reynolds, and Hawkeye all let them out, and they try to smuggle Black Panther and Janet out of New Wakanda. But as they make to the exit, they're confronted by Cortez. But this internal struggle is already at an end, because the Marvel zombies have returned. Hulk lands first, and he grabs a human and begins munching, while Giant Man realizes these humans were left behind, and they can turn them into a breeding farm. He can repopulate the humans just so that they can eat them. He then grabs Hulk, holding him back, telling him to stop. If Hulk eats them all now, they won't be able to turn them into a breeding camp. He won't be able to breed humans for feasting. This is too much for Spider-Man, and he shoots a blast of power cosmic at Giant Man. They haven't eaten in so long that Spider-Man is starting to come to his senses. And this isn't what they do. They were superheroes. And now Giant Man is coming up with ways to breed humans? Missing half his head and brain doesn't matter, because Giant Man is a zombie, and he orders the other zombies to kill this twit. Spider-Man must die. I'm tired of his jokes. But Spider-Man isn't alone, as Luke Cage is coming to his senses as well, and he joins up with Spider-Man. Zombies and humans begin to battle it out while Reynolds is looking for a plan, and his answer is to turn on the force field, one that not even the zombies can get through. He turns it on, cutting Luke Cage in half and taking off the leg of Giant Man. Seems like it was a good idea, except that they also trapped Gladiator inside of the force field. Spider-Man tries to talk Gladiator down, but you can't talk down a man that once commanded the Shi'ar. Gladiator punches his fist through Black Panther's chest, and then he tears Spider-Man in half. Wasp tried to tag him with her wasp fingers, but they just didn't do anything to him. Everything seemed doomed until someone stomped on Gladiator's head using some of Iron Man's old armor. Using it as a distraction, Spider-Man and Luke Cage both blasted Gladiator with the power cosmic, killing him by destroying his head. The man in the Iron Man armor takes his helmet off and reveals to Iron Man that it was Forge. He raided Stark Industries and improved on all of the armor. Oh, and he made this force field. They won't be getting in here anytime soon. So Giant Man turns to his fellow zombies. Whatever, we didn't come here for this. Let's go for the reason we're here. They then leave the humans there and they take off for the Baxter building. Forge takes all of the zombies inside, where he staples Spider-Man's body back together, gives Luke Cage some new legs, reattaches Wasp's head, and they tie down Bruce Banner to keep him from changing back into the Hulk. Cortez then walks in, demanding Forge hand over all of the zombies so that he can kill them. Forge refuses. They just saved mankind, and they aren't trying to eat anyone right now, so why are you trying to mess with them? So Cortez begrudgingly leaves them, and Black Panther turns to Spider-Man. Why did they come back, Spider-Man? He explains that they came for food. It's what they're always looking for. But their plan was to go to the Baxter building and get the multidimensional teleporter. Forge just laughs at that, though, and tells everyone to follow him. They'll get a kick out of this. Apparently, he went to the Baxter building years ago and got the multidimensional teleporter. He just can't get it working. But here it is. And as he's explaining that, Giant Man figures it out for himself back at the Baxter building. And he tells his fellow zombies it's time for them to go back to the last bastion of humanity. The zombies all return to the force field wall to find Black Panther and all of the other zombies inside waiting for them. What is this? Giant Man asks, and Black Panther tells him, we have a deal for you. We'll let you use the multidimensional teleporter if you promise not to harm anyone and just leave. Giant Man and Iron Man are in shock. Okay, deal. But as the force field lowers, they charge out ready to fight, and Reynolds turns on the force field, locking everyone outside of the area. This ends now, Black Panther shouts as they begin fighting it out. Iron Man did manage to get inside, though, and he goes right for the control room. But it's there that he finds quite a few people standing between him and the room. Everything seems to be going perfectly, except that they had Bruce Banner unconscious for the first attack, and he's now gotten himself free, and he's hungry. Meanwhile, back outside, Giant Man squashes Wasp between his hands, and Hawkeye opens fire on Giant Man, only to realize that that was pointless. He shoots arrows, and Giant Man is huge. Be my friend? He asks him. Back with Bruce and Reynolds, he tackles Reynolds, and he pushes him into the control panel, which lowers the force field. Seeing their chance, the Marvel zombies begin entering the last stronghold of the humans, and Giant Man reaches out, grabbing Black Panther's wife. He raises her to his mouth and prepares to take her head off. When he stops, he turns to his zombie brothers and he tells them, the hunger's gone. One by one, the zombies all lose their hunger, and Giant Man turns to everyone. Truce? Oh, hell no, Cortez shouts. You killed everything in the entire universe. You must pay for your crimes. Giant Man tells him that the memory of their actions is punishment enough. Not for me it isn't. I'm gonna make you pay, Giant Man, Cortez shouts at him. But Forge stops him. You can't hurt them. They don't feel pain. Plus, do you think they'd let you execute them? Before they can do anything else, though, Hulk bursts through the wall, and he's hungry. Everyone jumps in trying to stop the Hulk, but he's the Hulk, and he will not be stopped until his hunger is satisfied. He destroys half the zombies while they try to convince him to stop, and all it comes down to is they need to stop Hulk's hunger. So Reynolds sacrifices himself. Without Wasp, he has no reason to live. Hulk eats him and reverts back to Bruce Banner, where all of the power cosmic zombies blast him in the head, killing him once and for all. And that's it. The zombies help the humans rebuild, and as they dig through the rubble, they find the head of Wasp. She survived. After 3 weeks have passed, Giant Man spent his time rebuilding the multidimensional teleporter. The goal was to give the humans a better world to live on, and once it's complete, he calls a meeting of all of the zombies.
All of the zombies. Well, we went in a bit further away from Gwen Stacy, but death nonetheless. Or injury, should we say. Well, yeah, that's the end of the hour of drawing today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this one. Let's give you a quick zoom in on what I've drawn. We've got the, looking at it now, but that's odd. The head's a bit odd shaped, but I'm sure I can change that at some point when I digitize or whatever. If I maybe put a little bit of shading in somewhere, but let's get off of that and show you all the shading. You've seen me putting a little bit of shading there with pen. Everything I've been drawing over Inktober has all been done. Shading and inking, drawing, sketching, all done by ink pen. Normally by all of these ink pens here. So if you haven't checked out the stream so far, guys, definitely go and do so. So because you probably used to be shading and coloring and doing all stuff with pencil. The whole of my Inktober, I have not used one pencil, not even to sketch me out on my free time. I've been doing everything by ink, and yeah, this is Gwen Stacy and the injury that's caused by Spider-Man when she's saved or didn't get saved. Otherwise, guys, if you have enjoyed it, click those links that will appear. My name's Luke084, BLUT084, Art and Games. I'll see you tomorrow for day 30 of Inktober. Only 2 more days to go, and the challenge is complete. Don't forget to leave a like on today's stream. Don't forget to leave a like over on Instagram, where I'll be posting this for a better view. Otherwise, guys, see you again tonight for some more Minecraft and a Halloween special. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.